I'm enjoying Dragon's Dogma 2 a lot, but there is one thing that I really don't like in this game that other games do, which is when a game stops respecting my time and starts having me do stupid things just because. And as good as this game is, it has some really rough around the edges stuff. One of the things that's really driving me nuts, and I'm going to dive into it in full detail in this video, is the jankiness with combat and the AI of the AI pathing for your pawns in tight places. And there's some context to this conversation, which came from last night's stream. So let me get a drink of water, and we're gonna go to continue onwards here. So during last night's stream, I was on this quest. I'm gonna try not to spoil too much here, but there are some details that are relevant to the story. In Batal, doing a quest that results in us needing to kill a lesser dragon. It doesn't matter. You got to kill dragons in this game. You got to kill drakes in this game. I'm not spoiling the why of it. That dragon drops a necessary turn-in component for a quest. And the number of things that you're supposed to collect off that body is 15. You're supposed to get 15 of these things for the quest. So look on the map. All right, it's a ways away. We haven't been down there yet, so we got to work our way down there. We have to adventure our way down there. I'm cool with that. We're at the beginning of the stream. We start going. It takes us about 2 hours to get to where there's a final campsite right before you go fight this lesser dragon. So we get there, we do the camp, we camp and everything else. We do a hard save, and we go in. And you have to fight your way up. We get all the way up. We initiate the fight. It's tough. It's a big, like 5 dot whatever lesser dragon, and we're going at it, and it's like, it's a long fight. This is not one of those, Minotaur things that takes, 90 seconds. This is going to be 10, 15, maybe 20-minute fight. So we're getting into it, and we get about, we get down, halfway down, and all of a sudden my mage gets yeeted off into space and falls like 5 stories or whatever to her death. And that's one of my pawns, and also one of my DPSers, because I have my main pawn is a tank, and then I have a healer and a sorcerer with me. So my sorcerer gets yeeted off. So I work my way down, and we get her back up. It disengages combat with the dragon. We then have to find our way all the way around, because where it yeeted her up, there was no way back up. So we had to make this huge detour and go all the way back down the mountain to find this one unique path to get back up. We work our way back up. We re-engage with the fight. We get it down where it's going good. It's slow and steady, but I find a nice little corner where I don't get hit with the dragon fire too much, and I'm firing my bow, and we're working at it nicely. And then we get probably 90% of the way, and there goes my mage, my sorcerer, all over again, off into space. And this time I'm like, I don't have time. We're already like 2.5 hours into the stream at this point. I was like, I am not going to get that mage again. We're going to burn this down, sacrifice that mage pawn. We're going to recall back to town with a fairy stone, and I will just hire a new sorcerer. It doesn't cost me anything. It's fine. So we do that. Pawn dies. We win the fight. I go to loot the body, and there's only 10. Not 15. 10. There are only 10 items on that dragon's corpse, and I just literally sat there and went, you have got to be shitting me right now. I just went through 2.5 hours of effort to get here and do this major epic boss fight. Lost my pawn in the process and everything else. I was like, this is bad game design right here. If one dragon doesn't have all the things you need for that quest, and you're asking players to invest hours of their time to go find these dragons and drakes, and you're expecting them to kill more than one, and then people were saying, yeah, but you can find them by exploring the game and all this other stuff, and I'm like, that's not the point. The point of a quest in a game is to reward the player for doing something with XP and all the things they need to move the story forward. And when you do something like that, where it needs 15, but you're only going to give them 10, that you're no longer respecting the player's time. Like that is because we're not talking like a fetch quest where you go collect 5 wolf tails. Like yeah, you need to kill 5 wolves because wolves take 3 shots and they're dead. This is a big bad boss fight with a younger dragon, lesser dragon, whatever, and it's not a short fight, and nor is it a short journey to get there. There are no fast travel waypoints between there, no ox carts between there. Like proper, that's a proper adventuring session to go do this, and then to find out that you don't get all you need. And I know some people are going to say, "Oh, but that's the beauty of the game is you need to immerse yourself." And oh, you're just asking for instant gratification. I'm like, what are you even on about? Like instant gratification is the wolves. You run right outside the city walls, you kill 5 things, you're back in 10 minutes. You've gotten your dopamine hit. That's why those quests exist. But something like this, having spent 10 years in game design and game dev, this is bad game design. Um, from the purpose of, it doesn't respect your time. And it's one little thing that is not necessarily detracting from how much I'm enjoying Dragon's Dogma 2, but it is a point against the game. Like, this is one of those reasons why I say, as good as this game is, there are things in here that for me personally, uh, it's a contender for game of the year, but it's just there are some things in here that I'm really not a huge fan of, which it's a contender, but stuff like this drives me nuts. And I realize that's probably more of a personal preference thing than anything else. But I can also tell you from having spent a lot of time in game dev now, this kind of stuff is why people rage quit and don't come back. And it's more prevalent in MMO games if you have these types of things. We've had this discussion in the past. I think we did an episode on Mondays in MMORPGs years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, on this topic because it was such a relevant thing, and we had a lot of good data to go dive into around the episode. Because you obviously want your players to keep playing the game, and you want to keep them in the game, and you want to keep them having fun. And when things start becoming unfun, that's a choke point. That's a pressure point, and you have to figure out what's going on there. And so something like this is it's a reflection of old school mentality, which just doesn't fit the modern era that well. It's kind of like the whole, you know, if your game has fast travel, it's boring. And then their version, and I ranted a little bit about this in a different episode. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. It turns out their version of entertaining and everything else is to just throw gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs of random encounters at you on the road and make them even more plentiful at night. And let's add skeletons into the mix. So it's just this, and some people would say, yeah, but you could just sprint past all that. You know, in some cases, yes, but in not all cases, you can't do that. If it's low level stuff, sure, but you start getting into new areas, yeah, that's not going to work. Like I remember going to Batal at 25 to go. I went the back way to go get my Mystic Spear, Magic Archer, sorry, and there was no. I tried sprinting through, and those guys were my level and wrecked me, and it was funny to get wrecked in that way because I tried it 3 4 times sprinting through, and I was like, yeah, that's not going to work. Sometimes you can't sprint through, and sometimes you have to just fight your way all the way down there. And so going back to what I was talking about with the dragon, that was one of those cases where we had to fight 2 hours to get there because there was just it wasn't stuff I could just sprint through. And you're being asked to do a ton of combat along the way, and that's their version of content. And I told everybody in the very first episode I ever did about this game that I don't view that as entertaining long term. It's cute for the first 15, 20 hours of a game, but once I'm 30 hours in, I'm starting to get fatigued by that constant, like, I can't even walk, like, literally, it's you walk outside the city gates and you can already see. It's like, how do these people exist? Where are their farms? Where are their farmlands and their crops and things? Because everything I can see, as far as the eye can see outside of the city walls, it's just monsters. Like, just pure monsters. Like, you have these cities and their, thriving markets and all this. Where is that taking place? Because your whole world outside of these city walls appears to be just monsters. And so, yeah, when I have to fight 2 hours through monsters to not get the drop that I want, I feel like I'm back playing EverQuest 25 years ago, and I got to camp something for 10 hours, and I'm just sorry, that's not good game design. That's So, little nitpick for me personally. Still loving the game. It is absolutely amazing. I did an episode. I'm recording this at 5 in the morning, so it's airing I think here in a couple of minutes, or probably while I'm recording this, talking about I finally felt powerful with my magic archer after level 30, and I finally feel like after level 30, which it's taken me about 30 hours to get there, like from level 30, it's like I'm starting to feel powerful. Like with my magic archer and my main pawn, we've got really good armor. We've got a good backup pawn with a sorcerer and a mage healer, and we're just pretty much able to survive anything that's been thrown at us this point. Um, it's really well done. I feel really powerful, and the game is just a lot of fun in terms of the size, the exploration, some of the RPG mechanics, the darkness, the torches, lanterns. Sorry, there's a lot of cool stuff here. But this one thing, do you have any little nitpicks? I'd love to hear them. Drop them down below. I know some people have already talked about, the pawns diving off of cliffs. That was cute the first 2 or 3 times it happened. It has lost its cuteness when that happens. I'm no longer entertained by, losing a pawn to. I've lost 4 or 5 pawns to the brine now, and not because I'm playing poorly, but because of bad AI pathing and pawns just like yeeting themselves off of ledges that they shouldn't be yeeting themselves off of and falling into brine. Um, Love to hear that kind of stuff. Drop down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Daily streams here on Twitch. There's a playlist. I'm playing lots of Dragon's Dogma too, but I do other games, so check them out. There's a Patreon, there's a Discord. Peace.